So if you're familiar at all with the Necronomicon mythos, the Babylonian stories and whatnot, Tiamat was the leader of the race of Ancient Ones. Her first son, Marduk, who is part Draconian, part reptilian, later became the leader of the Elder Gods, the opposing race. Marduk is actually responsible, apparently, for slaying his mother, who is said to be evil. And Sitchin kind of uses the model as planetary, which we now find significant evidence for, that something severed the Earth and formed the asteroid belt, and also the Earth and Moon, and which may be two different occurrences: the severance of the Moon from the Earth, and also the Earth, which was originally called Tiamat, a larger being, I guess, that occupied the where I guess the asteroid belt would be now. And then the story goes that Marduk used half of her to form the Earth and the other half to form the skies. The skies being the asteroid belt, and then the Earth being planet Earth. All of it being actually from the same originating material. And then the remainder of the Ancient Ones were supposed to be locked away from this time-space dimension, and then making the Marduk current of dragon magic more suitable for magical use. Unknowingly, a lot of people that just like to throw words around in their incantations in the modern revival, they'll actually intone the names of like Tiamat and Marduk in the same conjunction. I don't understand that. From the Mardukite perspective, it's the Marduk current of dragon energy that we identify with and use. So, at any rate, in addition to this, there's a concern in Arthurian lore where, the dragon is not only a symbol of Wales, but also a part of King Arthur's family named the Pendragon, and we relate that to the idea of dragon kings prior. And we know that the red dragon was a symbol of the ancient dragon king alchemists in Wales and pre-Druidic folk as well of that area. As far as our Druid lore applies to Druidry. We're also told of a famous event where Merlyn speaks to King Vortigern in a pre-Arthurian situation about why a tower being built for the king repeatedly falls. And Merlyn instructs them to dig where they find, and they do, and they find two dragons fighting, one white and one red. The red representing Britain and the white one representing the Saxons, both of which were currently at war with one another. And in other versions, it's really a vision that Merlyn sees, not overt dragons. It's all subjective. Dragons are partial to triangles and tetrahedron-like pyramids. There's some mention prior of the symbol of the dragon's eye, and we'll get into that a little bit more when we deal with the practical magic end of the dragons. But it does appear it's an inverted triangle separated into three equal triangles from a middle point. And we also know the dragons, as elemental beings and creatures, respond to deep-sounding bells and gongs, and that for elemental and correspondence purposes, the best time to see dragons or work with that energy is at noon, and secondly at dawn. These would also be appropriate times to correlate that energy into your ritualistic magic. There's also a threshold period of the year between Beltane and Midsummer, and there's other lore suggesting that the dragons hold the equinoxes sacred as well. An incense resin most commonly found for dragon magic is known as dragon's blood, and it comes in a red resinous rock. The elemental tool most aligned to the energy current of the dragon would be the blade or sword or sickle. Traditionally the sword, though. It's interesting because in terms of elementalism and lore, the dragons are attracted to iron, whereas iron is almost like anathema to the elven and fairy folk. But gold are metals believed to attract dragons and elves and fairies, so that's a good one to have. Druids attempted to conjure the physical appearance of dragons in similar substances, including bonfires or bonfires. And just as water spirits can be connected with through the presence of water, dragons were believed to be able to inhabit the flames for momentary apparitions. And if you're experimenting with such in rituals, just always remember that in ritualistic settings, like attracts like.